The first model I want to talk to you about is the 3 Ps. The Ps are people, program and process. This model is central to the work we do. When we look at any challenge or opportunity, we're very interested in what are the people side of things, what's the program side of things, and what are the process side of things. And not only that, how they're interacting. Much like that stool that requires 3 strong legs to sit upright or to sit in balance, inside organisations they need to have 3 strong pillars of people, program and process to be able to sit at a level or upright space. If one of those legs, one of those pillars is out of whack, short or too long, the stool isn't in balance, the stool's off centre, it's uncomfortable. And organisations often feel uncomfortable because the 3 pillars are out of sync or out of balance. So when we talk about the 3 Ps, the first one I want to talk about is process. And process for us in our language is all about process. It might be things like procedures, process flow maps. It's the things that allow an organisation to repeatably, sustainably do its work. A lot of companies we see aren't very heavy on process. They rely upon people constantly to keep doing the same thing in a hope that it will be continued. What we see is when organisations have a sufficient amount of process in place, it allows repeatable operation. You'll see inside our own team, inside our own business, we have processes that we ask people to follow. It's just the easiest way to get things done. It makes a lot of risk be removed and it adds a lot of value. That's where processes can become really powerful. The second one is around people. Nothing happens without people. People are core to the work we do and core to the conversations we have. Understanding the people and understanding what the people do is really important. And we see that as a really critical pillar inside these 3. We do a lot of work around developing people, supporting those people, making them as able as they can be. But again, the people is just one facet of these 3 pillars. The last pillar is program. And program to us has 2 conversations. Program can mean a program of work that is being done, like a program around training and competency, for example. Some programmatic approach to how they are managing to continue the work. Or programs can also sit in a slightly different space, which is around IT or systems. Sometimes organisations are trying to do things way too manually, and the inclusion of an IT program may reduce the complexity and burden quite significantly. But we're also mindful, again, that without the good processes and without the good people, a program will really potentially add no value, if not possibly complicate things. So these 3 pillars that we talk about, people, program and process, are really important in how we think about our work and how we do our work with our clients. So they're the 3 elements that are the foundation or the pillars of the 3P model: people, program and process. Where it gets a little more exciting to me though is when we think about where 2 of those elements or 2 pillars cross over. What's the extra value that's been added by thinking about 2 together? The first of these for me is people and process. What happens when you understand the people you need and you have the processes you require inside any organisation? What you get is the beginning of competency. Being able to see that the business is and the people are competent, demonstrably able to do the work that they do. Competency for us is all about being skilled, knowledgeable and having the right aptitude or behaviour. Having great processes matched with having great people allows us to develop that competency. The second one we can talk about is the crossover between process and program. So we think about that programmatic approach and we think about how we do a sustainable model, be it a tool, IT, or be it a system where we develop, for example, a whole training and competency program or pathway for a business. Coupled with those processes that are sufficient at the right space. Not too many, not too few, a little bit like the Goldilocks method, finding that middle space where you have great processes and great process and have great program to enable it. Between those two things, it allows you to build some capacity, because you're not just being dependent upon the person. Some of the system and the process is allowing you to have a bit of space. So inside the business, you start to develop the capacity that you can explore more, do more. Thinking about those two, really important, how they meet, where they cross over, and the value that they bring in regard to putting capacity back into business. The last of them is between people and program. When we get the magic of people crossing over with program, we start to develop capability. And for us, capability goes way beyond competency. Competency is one of those, for us, to a degree, somewhat two-dimensional. Capability adds the third or maybe even the fourth dimension. It allows people to stretch way beyond themselves, allows the organisation to stretch way beyond themselves. It isn't just about skills, attitude and behaviour of an individual. It suddenly becomes a much bigger conversation around capability of teams, capability of organisations to be able to deliver more value in the work that they do. So that crossover between people and programs is really important to help build a depth and a broadness that we would call capability. So those three things, people, program and process, working in unison, allow us to develop competency, capability and capacity. Businesses start to breathe. They start to realise they have a bit of space. They start to feel comfortable that people know what they know and they can do what they do. They start to understand that there is pathways in there that are not just dependent upon one or two people being able to keep doing what they're doing. Rather, they now see that they can actually build their own, or as a term we often use, they can grow their own timber. The business is able to continue to develop as it needs, when it needs, how it needs. Those three elements working together allow a really holistic approach to how you do your business, how you do your team, how the organisation functions. And when you get all three working well and you've got your competency, capacity and capability working well, it kicks to another level. And inside the model you'll see three key words. You start exploring proficiency. So if competency is a minimum expectation for any individual, now we start talking about proficiency, which is a pathway or a journey. And you can start having conversations around just how proficient you need or want your people to be. You start developing them and you start to increase the capacity, increase the capability as a part of that proficiency journey. And the cool thing about that proficiency is you're going to get two tangible outcomes that are noticeable inside our client's business. Productivity will increase. They will be more able to do their work better. And that might mean that they can scale up, they can do more, they can be more. It might also allow them to be more effective in how they place their people inside the organisation. The third one though is about profitability as well. When businesses are working well, when capacity, capability and competency are all humming, the three Ps, the people, the program, the process work well. Businesses are productive, they're proficient, and they can start to optimise their profitability. The results they're achieving start to stretch into new spaces. That's the cleverness of the model in its simplicity. And the work that we do inside of our team when we're working with clients, understanding this, when we look at every opportunity, every piece of work through this lens, how are we making sure that in the work we're doing, we're keeping the balance of people, program and process available? How are we helping this organisation to keep their stool with the three pillars or the three legs steady and sturdy, such that they can rest on it, such that the organisation or the people can rest on it and feel comfortable that it's balanced and safe. Now there's always going to be constant adjustment, like balance isn't always completely achievable always, but our work is to keep mindful of the three pillars and how we're making sure they're all sturdy and able to hold the load of the organisation.